welding up the intercooler for the Supercharged Challenger we got out there, and in an attempt to not make this video super boring and redundant, because when you sit and weld all the time, it's hard to make it interesting, or to me at least anyway, because it all seems to be the same. I've got a few questions come in about welding aluminum, so I tried to show you a close-up of one of the tank welds, which is not just a weld to make the weld come out looking, fairly nice. Most of it is fit up and prep of the material. So I showed you the groove that I get in the fit up between two flat pieces to make the weld come out laying down smooth and even and have good penetration, and be a solid weld that won't come apart. These tanks are also welded inside and outside. So I've got it all tacked, well, the tank's welded and tacked to the core. I'm going to go outside and fit it up on the car before I put the actual inlet and outlet on it, to make sure I get it all lined up how I want. I've already got the piping fit up and tacked as well, so I'll show you that too. So I'll let this cool off for a minute, then I'll go outside and set it up against the car. Now I've got this out here now sitting against the car. You can see I wanted to make it the exact same width as the condenser to make sure it just fit well. It didn't have overlap and it got the airflow that it still needed to make sure everything else stayed cool. The intercooler looks tiny against such a big car with a big front, but it's a 500 horsepower core, which is going to support more than what this Supercharged V6 is going to make. So I've got it sitting how I want it, and I know now I want to make my top inlet or a top outlet go straight up and be short, because I'm going to snake the pipe in through behind the headlight, and I'm going to make the inlet longer so I don't have to run additional couplers or anything, so it'll connect to the charge pipe with one 90-degree coupler, so it'll all go on and fit fairly easily. And I also believe I'm just going to go ahead and riv nut the bumper bar and make the mount brackets to attach to the top of the bar using riv nut, so that once it's mounted it'll be a solid mount as well. I also got the charge pipes already fit up how I want them to fit, and on here you can see I stepped down with a smooth transition. That's 3" to 2.5" in the pipe, so I won't be using any reducer couplers. I want it to be a real smooth and clean look, and the owner also opted to go with the tile blow-off valve instead of what he had before, which I'll show you. So I'm going to mount the tile probably over in this area along with the IET bung. I got to make a certain port for that IET to work. I didn't want to change it out like I originally thought. I thought I'd just put like a GM IET screw in to make it simple, but from what I've read, these cars are finicky about IET sensors, so I'm going to reuse the stock IET that was in it. I'm just waiting on the coupler to come in for that. And you can see on the hot side I've already got it tacked up, snaked down how I want it to fit. It's a super tight fit for clearance, but it's all on there. So I'll finish up fitting this one upper pipe to make the routing down how I want it. And I think I'll stop right there for the day and come back and do the final welds later. This is what was on it previously for the charge pipe. It's kind of floppy. But you can see how they had the IET just stuck in that hole, which clearly wouldn't, it's not going to work with boost. And we're not going to reuse that blow-off valve. We'll go with a tile unit, which this is a steel pipe. That's aluminum. And we'll get rid of all these couplers, make it look nicer, and definitely work better. But yeah, I'll get these inlet and outlet tacked onto the tanks, go from there, and get to a stopping point. That's a really flexible coupler, but I guess it's supposed to be that way. I guess here's one more tip, if you want to call it that. Before I tack the fitting to the top, I'm going to go ahead and weld these up completely across the top and bottom, because I know I'm not going to take them back apart. And since this is going to take more heat here, and this smaller area is going to start to disappear on me, it's easier to weld it and put all the heat in first, and then I can take this and put it on, because it's going to sink a little bit, but I can correct it during the weld to make it fit how I want it to fit, versus if I did that first and made this part melt away here, there'd be a big gap in between the core and the tank, and I really don't want that.